Hello, everyone. I'm Theresa Cox, and today we're going to talk about managing and organizing your inventory. First, I want to talk about if you have a question during the session, go ahead and use the session Q&A function located on the right-hand side, and we'll be answering questions when the presentation is done. So what's on the agenda for today? First, we're going to talk about maintaining your inventory. We're going to cover three basic things: maintaining inventory, how to get started, and tips and tricks to help you along the way. First things first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been selling on eBay for over 25 years now. I'm very active in the eBay seller community, teaching and cheering everyone on. I love the color red. People love to send me pictures of red things that they see that remind them of me. One of my biggest eBay accomplishments is that I purchased a home with my eBay earnings, and specifically to use the garage and the master suite as an office in the garage for storage, and I rent the rest of the house out as an Airbnb. One of my favorite parts of being part of the eBay community is I get to work with various eBay teams, testing and providing feedback for various eBay products, and it's something that I've learned that I love, and I get to do it often. I am also the founder of the BOSS, Business for Online Selling Success, because it's all about the acronym, Facebook group, and we are a great group to teach and learn. No questions are off limits. We've got a great community support group there. And also, I am List Perfectly's first user. The founders of List Perfectly happen to be in my meetup group, and that's how I met them. I saw the product, loved it, and so I've been a fan and a cheerleader for them since day one. I am a community leader and a Facebook admin group for their Facebook group. Okay, so let's get on with the presentation. As I mentioned before, I've been selling for 25 years, and over those years, I've had many different inventory systems and storage capacities. I've stored items in every closet of every spare bedroom in my house, in the garage, in an off-site storage facility, and even in a 70-foot by 40-foot Quonset hut. I've organized my inventory in boxes and bins on shelves. I've sorted them by Christmas, by jeans and sweater bins. You name it, I've tried it. When I moved 3 times in 18 months, I ended up with a house full of boxes of inventory, and that's when the light bulb went off for me. Right here is the room in my Airbnb that I had purchased, and I was looking at this, trying to figure out how do I organize this mess as fast as I can so I can get this Airbnb up and running and start earning income for me. For you, it might be a death pile on the living room table or in the guest bedroom. You might be standing in the doorway asking yourself, how on earth am I going to tackle this? Well, I'm here to tell you how to do it. So you can go from a room full of inventory to an organized system like this in 2 days or less. So my system didn't look exactly like this when I moved everything from from those boxes in the living room into the garage, but this is how it was built up over time, one box at a time, one shelving unit at a time. And depending on how much you have, you can do it. You can make this happen in, I'm pretty sure, 2 days or less. So what you need. So first of all, let's talk about what you need. Very simply, you need 2 things. You need boxes and you need shelves. And these are the boxes that I use. They are boxes with straight sides, which was important to me because a lot of the plastic bins are tapered, and so there's a lot of void and wasted space. And I needed to utilize my 2-car garage, a very small 2-car garage, and utilize every bit of space that I could. You can get these boxes at staples.com. You can Google the box size and find a local vendor. I found them at Grainger, and I was able to pick up a bunch of them in my area. The shelving units that I use are 48 inches wide. 18 inches deep and 84 inches high, or 5 to 6 tiers. So what that allows you is 5 shelves for boxes, and then this very top shelf I use to store oversized things, extra boxes, whatever I might have. For your shelving units, wheels are key. They allow you to easily move your units if space doesn't allow for aisles. And so when I had a storage unit, I had fixed shelving on the up against the walls, and then I had several rows of rolling shelves in the middle, and I could just roll them around to access what I needed. I can move 20 units in about 20 minutes and blow out the garage space. And so by myself, wheels definitely make that happen. And box labels. I use Avery labels and place them in the lower right corner of each box. Okay, so the basics. Simply put, unlisted items go in unlabeled boxes. Listed inventory goes in labeled boxes. So first, what you need to do, if you have a room full of death pile, your living room is covered in inventory, you've got the guest bedroom you're trying to clear out, what you need to do is to put together 15 boxes. And you say 15 boxes because 15 boxes will fit on one shelving unit. And all you have to do is literally pick up the stuff off the bed, off the floor, and just put it in a box. I don't put light things together. I don't worry about what I'm putting in the box and what I'm going to do with it later on. I just need it in a box and out of my space. Once you fill up those boxes, then you will take and put that on your shelving unit, which will be divided in your space, and I'll show a slide a little bit later, for listed items and unlisted items. And so easily keep listed and unlisted items in the same space, but separated. And so you know which items are listed because they will have a label on the box. And as your inventory grows and as your business grows, your inventory system can grow as well. And you can buy another shelving unit and 15 more boxes. So the listed inventory goes in the labeled boxes. So inventory management happens when the photography is done. And what happens is when your photographer is taking the pictures, they will take all the information you need in pictures. You can put the item on a scale so you can get the weight. You can put take pictures of tags or you can write things on a whiteboard. You can. The key here is when you are photographing, then you will have an empty box or 2 or 3 that are labeled, and you will put your inventory in the labeled box and note in your photographs the box number. Then you take that information and you use eBay's custom SKU to indicate the item location or the box number in your listing. Once the item sells, you just simply look at that custom SKU. You go to that box, you pull it down, you pull your item out, ship it, and you're done. No more lost items, in theory. Okay, so build your system as you go. So this is what my garage looked like that first couple of weeks after I had moved into this space. And so you can see that the boxes on the left have white labels on them, all except for that one in the middle on the left-hand side. But what happened was when I pulled down a box and I photographed it, then it got a label. The boxes on the right-hand side of the screen are unlabeled and unlisted. And as I was able to go through my death pile and get my things listed and more organized, the system kind of grew from the left side of the garage to the right side of the garage to where now I have about 6 rows of listed inventory and less than 1 row of, boxes of unlisted inventory. And I was able to grow in this space as I tackled this project. A little bit about my project, just because some of you may not be familiar with my story. About 5 years ago, I moved and downsized. I sold this great big 6-bedroom, 3-bath house that I lived in by myself. that was full of stuff, decorator stuff. I had this Mickey Mouse bathroom. I had decorated my laundry room. And I decided that when I sold that house, that I was going to try to sell all my personal items on eBay with the goal of making $100,000. I just pulled that number out of thin air. And so a lot of those boxes that you saw in that first slide that were in the living room were my personal belongings that were in a house that I was no longer going to live in. I didn't need all that wall decor and Christmas galore. So I'm having fun now selling off my personal items. It's not everything that I do, but it is a big chunk of my business. And so I was able to grow in this space and keep my unlisted stuff there and move it along as it got listed. So the process. So the process here is pretty simple. I have some helpers that I affectionately call my minions. I have minions that help me photograph and a VA that helps me list. This process makes it so easy to share the photography and listing steps no matter who's doing the work. So the first thing with the photography is when my photography minions come over, and I do have a photo space at the Airbnb that they use, they will go into the garage and pull off an unlabeled box. And they just grab one randomly. And whatever's in that box is what they photograph for that day. And they will have 2 or 3, sometimes they will have 12 boxes. If they're doing a marathon photography session over a couple of days, the living room is full of boxes, of labeled boxes for them to pick and choose where they want to put their photographed item. So the items that are sourced, that are brought home and put in the unlabeled boxes are pulled, and then my photographer weighs them, measures them, photographs everything, provides everything for what I call the information picture, and then puts the photographed item in a labeled box, takes a picture of that, and uploads the pictures to a shared drive. Then my lister will come, my VA will come and open the shared drive, creates a listing just using the pictures, and then launches the listing. Now that sounds like it could be complicated, but it works pretty well. There's only a few times that my lister will have to message me and say, what is this item? But it does happen. Then once your item is listed and it sells, then you pull up your sales on your mobile device and find the box that it's in, pull it out, bag it up, ship it off, and repeat. It really is that easy. So here's some tips and tricks to make the process better for you. So some things that I learned along the way that I will share with you so that you don't have to go through the process I did. First of all is use a 3-digit numbering system. When I started, I thought I was being clever, doing 01, 02. But when I started sorting my boxes and I had 3-digit numbers, they got out of sync. So start out with 3-digit numbers. My boxes don't have them on there, but my custom SKU does. That's where it matters, because when I sort my items in my eBay active listings, I want to be able to sort by the box number. And what that does is it allows you, when you, I do inventory constantly, it feels like, but I will pull down a box. Let's just say it's box 36. I will sort by custom SKU, and anything that's in box 36, I'll make sure that it's there. Anything that's not listed, I pull it out, and we know the routine. I use colored labels to indicate the top, the bottom, and the middle shelves. And this is important. This is something that I just tweaked maybe in the last 2 months. What I was finding is when I was pulling items and it was on the top shelf, I'm 5'7", and the top shelf is still a little high for me. And they were heavy. I hated it. It was hard. So now the color of the label indicates which box is going to be on a top shelf, which box is going to be on the bottom shelf, and I can load them up accordingly. Another thing is to take an information picture. This will be helpful to you or to your lister when the time comes for them to create the listings. separate like items by size and place in different boxes. So if you have, I used to do this, I would buy, I do a lot of retail arbitrage. So I would buy a shirt in a small, medium, large. I would put them all in the same box, and inevitably I would sell a medium and grab a small, and then I got to return and exchange, and it's a big nightmare. By placing them in 3 different boxes, you reduce the chance of that happening. Another thing that I figured out was to place the items vertically in boxes in a Marie Kondo style. If you layer them, then you're constantly digging through stuff and you can't find it. You want to make it so that when you pull the box down, what you need is quickly and easily found. Use the eBay customizable label SKU to note the item location. I'll go over some different types of data that I put in that custom SKU that's very helpful. The best thing I like about this system is when returns happen, it's very simple. Before, I would have to, especially when I had all my inventory in a Quonset hut that was, on the other side of the property, I would get a return and I would think, oh, does this go into this box or this shelf? Where's my Christmas stuff? And with this system, because I don't put things together, when a return happens, I pull up the listing on eBay, I change my custom SKU, and I drop it in whatever box is sitting by my desk that day. So my returns get processed back into the system much faster this way. Okay, so colored labels, we talked about that. And so this is just the way my brain works and what I did. You can see on this slide that the top shelf is all yellow. And the yellow, in my mind, is for the sun. So the sun is at the top, and the bottom shelf is green. Green is for grass. And then the middle shelf, I put in alphabetical order: blue, orange, pink. And this kind of helps me that I know that if it's going to be a green or a blue, I need it to be lighter. If it's a pink or a green, if it's a yellow or a blue, it's going to be a lighter box. If it's a pink or a green, it's going to be it can be heavier. And then anything orange is just a mixture. Heavy boxes on the bottom, lighter boxes on the top. Okay. So this is what I call my information picture. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. It's all the information that my lister will need for creating the listing. You'll see the whiteboard there, and I use this on and off, but I took just a whiteboard that I had, cut it up into 3x5 or 4x6 inch sizes, wrote on there box, size, quantity. Sometimes I'll put a note on there if I think that my lister can't tell that this is a sweater versus a sweatshirt from a picture. I'll put that it's new with tags, my price, or the price that I want to sell it for, and then my price. You can see that I've weighed it, so I can write the weight in there: 0 pounds, 11 ounces. I've kind of tweaked this, and we go back and forth with this. Sometimes I'll just take a picture of the item on the scale, and then that's just another picture. But this picture gives the lister the UPC code, any style information that's on the UPC tag. Typically, we'll have a close-up of the UPC because there's so much information on that if it's a new item that I've sourced during my retail arbitrage. They note my cost of goods, obviously the brand and the size, and the other pictures make it more evident as to what these are. These happen to be a pair of red football pants. Okay, so the next thing, place like items of different sizes in different boxes. So what does that mean? We talked about it a little bit earlier, but you can see that I have 3 pair of red pants, and they're in 3 different boxes. My old system would have all my football pants in one box, whether they were green, white, red, blue, and then I would just go, oh yeah, that's where the football pants are. In this system, I make sure that my small pants are in box 38, my medium pants are in box 31, and my large are in 36. And the same thing with the neon green shirts, small, medium, and large, 3 different boxes, noted in the custom SKU, so that when you go to pull it, I don't have to worry about what size it is. I just have to pull the box down, find a green neon shirt, and pull it out, and I can pick my order so much faster this way. Okay, so here's an example of the placing your items in vertically in the boxes. Now, the sample on the left, you can see I've got a couple of slip-and slides. I've got a cute little pig from Moana. I've got a piece of fabric that's some kind of a panel, some Christmas bows, some ornament hangers, patterns. I have no idea what's in that brown box. Looks like there's some DVDs, but you get the idea. It doesn't matter what it is, it just goes in the box. If it fits in the box, it goes in the box. And I've put them vertically because if I had stacked the slip and slides on the bottom and then put everything on the top, I'd be digging through it. But this way, I pull the box down. I'm like easily grab the gold bows or the stuffed pig, whatever I need. Now I do sell a lot of shoes and a lot of new retail arbitrage clothing. So this is an idea of what I would do for the shoes. And the key here is to try to place different colors, different brands, anything different, not put as many shoes in one box, because to me, this box has too many black and white shoes in it. Now, I can see that there's a Nike, there's an Adidas, and there's some blue ones or whatever, but this I wouldn't put this many shoes in this box today. But at the time, I was, you're listing stuff and you want to get your stuff in boxes. I would split these black and white shoes up across more boxes so that the chance of me pulling the wrong item is reduced. Okay, so the last thing that I have for this system is how do you create your custom labels? I've got 3 different ways to do labels, and I use them all interchangeably. You can see from all 3 different samples that each one starts with a letter in a box. Those are the box numbers. Now, when I was doing this system, I had 2 locations. I had inventory in Williams, Arizona, which was 3 hours north, and I had inventory here in Gilbert. And so I needed to differentiate where the inventory was and who pulled it. So I had G for the items that were here and W for the items that were in Williams. So I've since merged my inventory, but it was too much work to go and get rid of that G. So the simplest form is a 3-digit box number. G for Gilbert, 531. The middle sample is a little more information, item location. This one is box 256. And this also gives me my cost, which is 99 cents, and the MSRP, which is $3.98. And I use that information a lot of times if I'm putting something on sale, if I'm tweaking the prices. Many, many times, my $3.98 item I will list for $14.99 with free shipping. And the most the most informative label that I have is what I use for most of my new retail arbitrage items that I'm selling. And that gives the location, that gives my cost, $17.99. I add the size to the listing because sometimes I need to see that size without opening the listing. So this one is a men's 8 wide. Then I have the MSRP. So these MSRP for $100. And then I started putting the custom SKU, adding the UPC code at the end of my custom SKU. And that's a checks and balances. It's also a way for me to easily search my inventory, search my database to find out, where is this item? If it's not in the box, did I put it in another box? And also, when I pull my item, I just double check the size and I double check those last 4 digits. to make sure that I have pulled the right item and the right size and the right color. So that's the gist of it. I have been doing this system. It's been very successful for me for the last 3.5 years. I've tweaked it very little. One thing that I did start doing that I didn't show in a picture here is when I pull an item off of out of a box and I feel like the box is getting a little empty, I will take a binder clip and I will put a binder clip on the outside of the box. And that just tells me, hey, this box is getting a little empty. You might pull this box down for the next round of photography. And so you can keep recycling your inventory in and out of the same boxes. Other than that, I'm open for questions, and anybody have any questions for me?